cushion, nudge the red. Super.
98.
Ronnie O'Sullivan has been keeping us all guessing lately with his sudden withdrawals. So what's really going on behind the scenes? Is the rocket slowing down, or is there more to the story? Stick around to find out. Ronnie O'Sullivan has been pulling out of several tournaments lately, leaving fans scratching their heads and wondering what really happened behind these tough decisions. His most recent withdrawal was from the Bet Victor Welsh Open, which has made waves in the snooker world. O'Sullivan was scheduled to face Jamie Clarke this Tuesday, but instead he decided to drop out before even playing his first match of the season. While this left many of his fans concerned, it worked out quite nicely for Clarke, who advanced to the next round without even lifting a finger. The World Snooker Tour made the official announcement. The seven-time world champion hasn't played since the Championship League on January the 9th. He also withdrew before his final group stage match against Ali Carter. His last competitive match was against Robert Milkins, where he lost 3-2. That match gained a bit of attention when O'Sullivan snapped his poor cue in frustration. He got so worked up about his rough play that he whacked the cue against the table, and his manager later found that the very same cue had been discarded in a bin. A few days later, O'Sullivan withdrew from the Masters, a tournament he had won 8 times. During an interview with Eurosport Snooker, he opened up about his decision to withdraw from the match and the outburst that led to it.
Ronnie, first up, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, not too bad.
Now, obviously, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you about your withdrawal. Was it a tough decision?
Yeah, it was a nightmare decision, really, to make. You know, if you'd have asked me Sunday was I ready to play, I probably would have been okay to play. But it's such a massive tournament, and I've obviously been on this 3-week trip away playing, and I just think I just exhausted myself. You know, a lot of pressure while I was away, and I just think the build-up of all that kind of just got a bit too much, really. So yeah, I mean, I lost the plot on Thursday, snapped my cue, so that's unplayable. So yeah, I just knew that at that moment in time the right decision was to not play, and such a big tournament, I thought, you know, that whoever was going to come in should have at least had a couple of days' notice, you know. Yeah,
respect to the game, respect to you for that. I've got to ask, you've got a snapped cue. What's the plan with it? What are we going to do with it? Because it's a piece of snooker history.
Well, it was in the bin, one of them wheelie bins, and then my mate said, look, we can't leave that here, so he kind of got it out and brought it with us. But now I've got a couple of other cues that I've got to start practicing with, because obviously there's some tournaments coming up, so I'm going to continue to play, so I need to get used to the cue now.
Listen, I know John missed you yesterday, and I'm sure you'd be reciprocal in that sense. How much do you hope maybe play here again against John, you know, because you're like blood brothers, you guys, aren't you?
Yeah, I love to play John, love to play, you know, this is an unbelievable tournament, probably like, you know, top 16, best players in the world, amazing crowd, you know, won this tournament many times, I think I've been in like 14 finals, so it's, yeah, I'd love to come here and play again, and, you know, hopefully be lucky enough to win the trophy again, that'd be great, you know.
Next time, could you maybe withdraw a little bit later so Jimmy's got a chance of getting his cue out and getting out there, because I know he wants to play. But Al, in terms of the snooker that we've seen so far, the last 3 matches, they've been so good.
Yeah, brilliant. A couple of deciders, a 6-3 for good measure as well. Brilliant today. Slow burn, as you said at the time, but it developed into a brilliant match, which you expect at the Masters, and we expect more of the same tonight.
And in terms of tonight, Ron, I mean, 2 players, tenacious, passionate. What can we expect from Carter Selby?
Yeah, I mean, I think Mark Selby's playing some good stuff, you know. He was up in Leicester, and, you know, he was just cruising through matches. Looks like he's got a gear to spare, which is always nice. Probably the best match player that's ever played, him and John Higgins.
O'Sullivan also mentioned that he wishes the World Snooker Tour would bring in mental health professionals to provide support to players on tour. He's been through a lot in his life, battling depression, alcohol and drug abuse, so it's no surprise that he's advocating for more support. He went on to compare snooker to football, where players have access to masseuses for injuries. In snooker, however, there should be someone at every tournament to help players who are struggling mentally.
I think World Snooker should have somebody, like at football they have masseuse, people sorting out injuries. I think at snooker they should have someone at the tournament employed as like someone struggling, they've come off the table. Do you need to have 10 minutes for someone? I'm not saying everyone will go in there. I just think for the because a lot of players suffer in silence, basically. Yeah. I can tell, I just look at them, I go, you know, they're struggling, but they should have someone to go to and talk to. I think that's so important. You know, you have coaches sorting your cue action out, but really, you need someone just to, like, unload a bit. I think it really helped the players. I know Sean Murphy's part of the panel or whatever, but I think part of this, whatever, they could find the money to employ someone full-time, you know, to be there for the players, because it really is tough mentally. I mean, if he's struggling mentally, and I struggle mentally, and John Higgins struggles mentally, then the other 124 are 1,000,000% are struggling mentally. But you're not allowed to, like, you know, oh, what's the matter? You're a snooker player, getting paid this, getting paid that. Well, it's not about the money, you know. He doesn't need the money. Johnny doesn't need it. It's just pride of performance. You know, you want to put a show on for the crowd. You want to put a show on for yourself. You know, you want to play well. It's such a, you know, and when you don't, it can really, like, drive you crazy. You know, so and sometimes just a little 5-10 minute chat, you can go, oh, I'm all right. I'm all right now. I can go sleep. I look forward to tomorrow instead of going back and beating yourself up. Because you look at someone like Gary Wilson. He's very articulate the way he talks, and I think he's great because he really suffers as well. You know, but he articulates it very well. But not a lot of people.
There'll be a lot of players out there, like Ron says, are suffering and probably.
Despite his legendary status, it's clear that Ronnie O'Sullivan is just as human as the rest of us. The pressure, the expectations, and the mental strain can sometimes push even the best to their limits. Perhaps, just maybe, snooker could take a page from football's book and offer a little more support for their mind. O'Sullivan also got pulled out of the Masters, citing medical grounds, where he was set to face John Higgins in the opening round at Alexandra Palace. Later on, O'Sullivan admitted that he'd pretty much exhausted himself in the lead-up to the Triple Crown. And to no one's surprise, he also pulled out of the German Masters. Fans were holding out hope for his grand return to Llandudno, but sadly their hearts were shattered when he withdrew. Watching your hero step back is never easy, but at 49, with anxiety and depression weighing on him, it's clear that taking time off is the right choice. It's about focusing on his health and giving himself the rest he needs. He's expected to return to action at the World Open in Yushan next week, and let's just pray he doesn't drop out again. The Championship League has been a season where O'Sullivan spent more time off than on, which is a major change after his insane 2023-2024 campaign, where he bagged 5 titles and earned over £1.2 million in prize money. So far, he's earned £265,600 this season, with his best results being semi-final finishes in Shanghai and Xi'an. This season, he's been more selective, focusing on events in Asia and some high-paying exhibition matches. O'Sullivan is currently set to face world number 78 Stuart Carrington in the World Open qualification round on February 23rd. But as the past few weeks have demonstrated, it's not a guarantee he'll make it to the table. If he feels he's not in the right mental or physical space, he could very well pull out again. He's also qualified for the World Grand Prix in his adopted home of Hong Kong, where he's set to defend his title at the Kai Tak Arena, scheduled between March 4th to 9th, with the top 32 ranked players going head-to-head. But let's keep our fingers crossed that we'll get to see Rocket back in action, giving us some unforgettable moments. And who knows, maybe even another title or two. What's even more exciting is that he's just one more title away from surpassing Stephen Hendry's record. Can you imagine? One more title and he becomes the ultimate snooker champion. Do you think O'Sullivan will make it back to his winning ways this season? Or will the pressure continue to hold him back? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to know what you think. That's it for this video. What are your thoughts on Ronnie? Let us know in the comments. For more snooker content, click on the screen right now.